Welcome to Mind Prosperity, and today we're speaking about 12 uncomfortable signs that you are healing. You know, the thing is, a lot of times when a person decides to go through healing, or if a person decides to heal emotionally, there's this time period that feels really uncomfortable. And as soon as people go through that time period that feels uncomfortable, they think their healing is not working, the process is not working, the therapy is not working. And therapy is something that I really want to encourage. You know, none of us grew up in perfect circumstances. None of us have a perfect life. None of us have a perfect environment. And because of that, all of us are going through times and seasons where we are sitting with emotional scars. So if you decide to go to a therapist, if you decide to be honest about your emotional state, if you decide to get help, you know, there's no shame in that. It doesn't mean, you know, you're a crazy person. It doesn't mean there's something terribly wrong with you. And I think it's something that is really necessary, you know, for everybody, you know, to see what has happened to me in my life that could have scarred me emotionally. And how can I get help for that? That's what therapists are for. That's what coaches are for. That's what counselors are for. So I'm very excited today to share with you 12 uncomfortable signs that you are going through. If you are healing emotionally, if you need some individual coaching and training and counseling from myself, please send me an email. I can do this over online platforms, so you can be anywhere in the world. So please feel free to speak to me and to book a session. Okay, so let's go. 12 uncomfortable signs that shows you are healing. Number one, you allow yourself to feel your emotions. Now, somebody that goes through a lot of emotional hurt or went through a lot of emotional hurt goes to their logical mind. Sigmund Freud calls it the superego. It's the part that's going to start to think logically about everything. It's the part that's going to think, okay, but what does society say about this? Am I conducting myself in a right manner? People who are stuck in their superego also tend to struggle more to go for counseling, because, you know, they ask themselves the question, is it socially acceptable? When they go to counseling and when they go through counseling, they also tend to be more in their logical mind and struggle to get into their emotions. And that is because, you know, the it part that Sigmund Freud speaks about, the part of, you know, your personal desire, is kind of like you feel a lot of anxiety to take care of that part of yourself, because you feel kind of like anxious about your own desires and your own wants and your own needs, and it comes from childhood, because it is the first part of the child that is developed and that needs to be satisfied. And if that part is not fulfilled, a person gets anxious in fulfilling it, or if you kind of have that desire to fulfill your own emotional needs. And as soon as you do something to fulfill them, you can go into shame and guilt, because, you know, a lot of times we have been trained by society, it's not okay to have our own needs met. So you know you are healing emotionally if you get to a place where you say, I allow myself to feel, I allow myself to need, I allow myself to desire. Number two, you are moving away from people pleasing. You know you are healing if you're moving away from people pleasing. That means you start asking yourself the question, what is good for me? This doesn't mean you become selfish. This doesn't mean you are against other people, or now all of a sudden you treat other people badly. But it does mean you ask yourself the question, what is good for me right now? What do I need right now? Doesn't mean you push people away or write people off or you don't help people, but it does mean that you get to that place where you understand that your needs has to be met in order for you to help others. And if you're still in that place of, you know, I want my own needs met, I want to take care of myself, but what are people going to think of me? Then I want to encourage you to get more into that place where you take care of yourself, but it's going to feel uncomfortable in the beginning, especially if you are used to people pleasing. And this is why it's called uncomfortable signs of healing. The third one You are okay with difficult experiences. All of us are going through difficulties in our lives. All of us go through challenges in our lives. And I always encourage people to have a positive expectation, to have a good expectation about life, and to have a good expectation about things. But if we get into that place where we get very frustrated and we get very anxious when things doesn't always work out perfectly, that's a place where we will struggle emotionally. But if we get to that place where we experience difficulties in our lives, where we experience hardships in our lives, and we feel like it's not okay, we have to move to a place where we say, listen, if bad things happen, if difficult experiences happen in life, that's part of life and it's okay, I can make it through this. It's not going to be forever. Number 4, you do not constantly live in survival mode. So what is survival mode? Survival mode is actually a good thing for protecting the body. If a bear comes or if a snake comes, then it's good for the body to be in survival mode. But because of the size of the neocortex, the neocortex in the brain, your body doesn't know the difference between a thought and a real experience. So if you have anxious and fearful thoughts the whole time, your body is in survival mode, meaning you want to protect yourself the whole time. You don't trust anybody. You don't trust anything. So one of the signs that you are emotionally healing, you're not in survival mode the whole time, meaning you start to trust more. And when it comes to trusting people, we have to understand that people do have flaws. And you cannot every single time when somebody makes a mistake or somebody does something you don't like, say, I don't trust people, I don't trust people. People make mistakes. I do understand if you don't trust people who intentionally hurt you, but that's not everybody. So if you move out of survival mode and you move more into a trusting mode, and to move into a trusting mode does mean you become more vulnerable, you open yourself up to hurt. And this is also why it's something that's not as comfortable. Number 5, you are okay with feeling uncomfortable. And the thing is, if we want comfort all the time, if we want to feel good all the time, we're not going to heal, we're not going to grow. So a person who's on their way to emotional healing is somebody that says, I do understand sometimes I go through uncomfortable things. Sometimes I do go through uncomfortable emotions, but it's okay. It's okay to feel that way. It's actually good to feel that way. It's actually good to feel uncomfort in your emotions, because it gives you this idea of what is going on. It shows you that you are more okay to get in touch with your feeling side. And although it feels a bit uncomfortable for the body, it's good to sit in that situation and to deal with it and to grow through it. So if you are okay with feeling uncomfortable, that is a good sign that you are healing and that you are growing. Number 6 connects to number 5 a lot. You step out of your comfort zone. Now, a lot of times people are scared, people are afraid to step out of their comfort zone. Because they are afraid of what's going on the other side, but they are more afraid of what's going on the other side because of the way it's going to make them feel. But now that you are okay with feeling uncomfortable, you are more okay with stepping out of your comfort zone. And that might mean going to therapy. That might mean, being honest and saying, listen, I need emotional help. That doesn't mean you should receive emotional help from anybody and everybody. But it does mean that you will go to the right people. You are comfortable saying that you need help. And you are even comfortable saying that you are getting help and that you are growing. And it means that you are getting out of your comfort zone. And it means you are growing. Before I go to the following steps, I want to ask you to like and to subscribe. Share this video to people if you believe it's going to help them. At Mind Prosperity, it's really our heart that you guys will that you guys and everybody will heal emotionally, because we do believe emotional healing is also very important for a good mindset. Okay, let's go to number 7. You develop bravery around your emotions, meaning you're not afraid to feel anymore. You're not afraid of your emotions anymore. You're not afraid to feel, sometimes people are even afraid to feel happy. Sometimes people are even afraid to feel joy, because they also feel this guilt and shame. It comes back to that part of, it's not okay for me to be satisfied, it's not okay for me to be happy, and it's kind of like that self-punishment, and it can come from your childhood. I'm excited. Next year we're going to do some online training about healing childhood trauma. So if you guys want to know more about that, you can email me already. You'll see my email address is on the screen, albert@mindprosperity.co.za. But it's a very important thing to develop bravery around your emotions and to say, listen, this did happen during my childhood. This is the way, that my parents treated me. That doesn't mean they were bad. It just means there were some areas where they might have failed you, and it caused some emotional scars. It's the same with teachers. It's the same with caretakers. It's the same with siblings. It's the same with religious leaders. Whatever experience you had in your environment that could have hurt you, when you get to that place where you are feeling more comfortable to feel that emotions, you develop a more bravery to feel that emotions. That might be uncomfortable, but that bravery shows that you are on your way to emotional healing. Number 8, you become comfortable with change. Now, a lot of times when people are stuck in the past and they are stuck emotionally and they are stuck in their feelings, they struggle with change because change can maybe cause them to detach from something that they are attached to, and they're afraid of the feeling that might go with it, or they're afraid of the feeling that might come with the next season in their life. But if you get to that place where you feel, I am more comfortable with change, that is an indication that you are healing. And I'm not saying you are totally 100% comfortable, but you are getting more comfortable with detaching from the old and transforming into the new. Number 9, you accept disappointments, meaning you are okay with bad days and you are okay with good days. You understand that everybody experiences bad days, everybody experiences good days. When you experience a bad day, you also understand that a good day will also come. You're not at a place where you're like so afraid of your emotions. When you are facing a bad day, you are okay to deal with those emotions. Like we said, you are brave around those emotions, and you are okay with saying, this has been a bad day for me emotionally. This has been a bad moment for me emotionally, but it's okay. It's good for me to feel those feelings, although it feels uncomfortable. It does help me to grow. Number 10, you develop more peace. Now, I'm not saying you suddenly have more peace, but you can see in this ongoing process, the peace you are developing is growing more and more and more and more. Number 11, you love and embrace your dark shadow. Now, what is your dark shadow? This is something from Carl Jung that he spoke about, and he said your darkness speaks about that side that you're ashamed of, that side of yourself that you don't like. And the shadow is the thing that you put on it to cover it. So all of us have a dark side, that side that we so ashamed of. And we put a shadow on it because we don't want people to see it. We can also call it like a mask we put on ourselves, that people cannot see the real self or the real us on the inside of us. So you are more comfortable with looking at your dark side, meaning you're looking at your faults, you're looking at your mistakes, you're looking at the things that you're ashamed of. And you are saying, I'm not saying you are revealing them to everybody, but you are saying, listen, I can love myself as a holistic person, the good sides and the bad sides. And the shadow part of me, the part that I'm trying to hide, the part that I'm ashamed of, the part that I'm trying to hide even from myself, I'm willing to take off that shadow, and I'm willing to embrace and love that side of me. Number 12, and this is the final one, you welcome help and support. And this is a very, very important part of emotional healing. People who do not welcome help and support are people who are still stuck. They are still comfortable, because a lot of times going for help and support might be a very uncomfortable thing, because it means you have to be honest. It means you have to be vulnerable, which is very difficult for some people at some times, but it's a very necessary thing to go through when you want to experience your full healing. So it's okay, it's good, it's necessary to go for help and support. And if you get to that place where you say, listen, I'm going to go for help and support, it's a very good indication that you are healing emotionally. Well, thank you so much for watching. We hope and we believe that these 12 steps helped you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and we are excited to see you in our next video. From Mind Prosperity, we love you. Goodbye.